The Texas Rangers faced another disappointing season defined by underperformance and injury. Now, with an offseason to try and correct the holes of the roster, will the Rangers fix up their biggest weaknesses or continue to watch this World Series roster flame out? Hello, my name is Avery Taylor, and welcome to Rebuild October, a series where we rebuild every single team across the month of October. So, whether you're looking for your favorite team or just generally curious as to how every team will approach the offseason, then this is the series for you. And with that being said, let's get right into the video. Despite the injuries, the war by position actually paints a good story as to where this team will look to rebuild for 2026. The pitching, especially the bullpen, wasn't the greatest, while the middle infield and young outfield boast the team to success. One of the biggest talking points of this offseason will be how much of the band can the Rangers keep together. So far in the series, the Rangers carried the largest amount of impending free agents by a good margin. 13 players are set to hit free agency from the Rangers camp, and it will be difficult to hold on to even the majority of those names, so they will have to be selective. The one player the Rangers have zero control over is Joc Pederson, who has an $18.5 million player option. After coming off the worst full season of his career, I don't think there's a world where Peterson decides to opt out of his deal, which could end up being a blessing in disguise if the struggling left-hander can get back to his mashing ways. He looked much better in the second half, and if he can continue to build on that momentum, then he could be a great bat for the Rangers to hold on to. As for the rest of the names, the Rangers need to focus on the bullpen. The Rangers can't afford to spend another offseason fully rebuilding the bullpen after losing their best pieces again. And that starts with re signing Phil Maton, who finished the year with the Rangers after moving from the Cardinals at the deadline. He finished up another season from a really impressive 4 year stretch of low 3 ERA type pitching. He's a safe, high quality option to add back to this bullpen. Another name that performed admirably in 2026 was Sean Armstrong, who was really impressive with a 2.31 ERA. He's not as consistent in the ERA department as Maton from year to year, but his strikeout to walk rate continues to be very impressive. If the Rangers get the good version of Armstrong once again, then this is another high quality get. And then the final player returning to the Rangers will be Danny Colombi. Colombi wasn't great for the Rangers in the 15 games there over the second half of the season. However, what you cannot take away from Colombi is that he has a 2.38 ERA across the last 4 seasons overall, and again, would be a high quality add for the Rangers despite not having the name value. Aside from those players, the Rangers will have to watch as the rest of their impending free agents hit the open market. However, returning free agents aren't the only names that the Rangers will have to consider when constructing the 2026 roster, and that's because they have a few free agents that will make it into the major leagues during the 2026 season, and none of them are bigger than Sebastian Walcott. Walcott reached Double-A last season at just 19 years of age. He boasts that elite combination of power and speed that every organization dreams on, all while playing a good shortstop with one of the best arms in minor league baseball. The question is less if than it is when he'll make the major leagues next season, and if he does, it'll likely be as the team's third baseman at some point in the second half of the year. Another name that will make the roster at some point in 2026 with much less pedigree is Jose Corniel. The third ranked prospect in the Rangers system boasts a plus fastball and slider with a solid cutter and changeup with good control. Corniel was a strange case in 2026 because he actually made it to the major leagues, but it was just one start, only going 1.2 innings, so there really isn't much to talk about there. His stint at Triple-A was strange as well because he made 13 starts but was limited to 38 innings of work in those starts as he was recovering from Tommy John surgery. He did look good in that time and had an impressive strikeout to walk rate, so this Arizona Fall League and spring training will be very big for him. Without that information, I'll have him making the opening day roster, but in the bullpen. Joining him in the Arizona Fall League is the Rangers' number 4 prospect, Winston Santos. Santos missed much of 2025 with a stress reaction in his back and is looking to make up the time during the offseason. He has a killer fastball and slider combination with a developing changeup. He commands the pitches well and looks to be part of the team at some point in 2026, just not from opening day. A pitcher I would be remorse if I didn't talk about is Emiliano Teodo, who has some of the best pure stuff in minor league baseball. The problem is no one knows where it's going. While striking out over 25% of the batters he faced at Triple-A, he was also walking close to 19%, which is just wild. However, if he can figure out even a semblance of control, watch out for this guy in the bullpen. Players who actually make the team from opening day will include Jonah Heim behind the dish, who can hopefully find his old offensive self, with Jake Berger at first, Marcus Semien at second, Corey Seager at short, Josh Smith platooning at third, with Wyatt Langford in left, Evan Carter in center, who finally has a season's worth of games under his belt, and Adolis Garcia in right, with Joc Pederson at DH. Kyle Higashioka will return as the backup catcher, with Ezekiel Duran as a utility option. Michael Hellman as a fourth outfielder, and Josh Young as a platoon at third base against lefties. This lineup doesn't need many changes, if any. They've established players at every single position, and it just will take healthy seasons and some performers actually performing. The rotation will return Nathan Eovaldi and Jacob deGrom as co-aces at the top, with Jack Leiter as a solid third option. With the injury history of the top two, the Rangers need a combination of a solid but reliable starters to fill out the next two options, and with that, the team will turn to free agency. The first name the Rangers will turn to is Jose Quintana. Across the last four seasons, Quintana has averaged 135 innings with a 3.53 ERA, while striking out 7 batters per 9 innings and walking 3. Another fun fact is he has started exactly 100 games and even has a win-loss record at 30-30 in those starts. However, Quintana is the definition of what the Rangers need, plus consistency while getting his innings. And the final rotation spot will be a reunion with Michael Lorenzen. While he is a bit more hit or miss compared to Quintana, there is no doubt that Lorenzen will be somewhere near an average pitcher who gets his innings. As a fifth starter, that's all you can really ask for if your team isn't the Dodgers. Getting Lorenzen means you have some stability in this rotation to go along with the high upside of deGrom and Eovaldi. For the bullpen, they'll return Robert Garcia, Jacob Latz, and Jacob Webb. This leaves one spot on the roster for the Rangers left to fill, and if they want to get serious about taking that next step, they need to sign a big-time closer. And they'll do just that by signing Devin Williams, coming off a poor season with the Yankees. While this season might not have gone his way, make no mistake about it, Devin Williams is still that guy. Even in a down year, he was striking out over 13 batters per 9 innings, walking less than 4, and only giving up 6 hits per 9 innings. Williams is all but guaranteed to bounce back into the reliever that he was. If that means the Rangers get the slightest discount from the fall off, then that's a fantastic add to this bullpen that already has some solid names. And that's going to do it for the video. There's still a world where this Ranger team rekindles what they had in 2023. This core should be given at least one more season to prove that, and in the AL West that is winnable, the Rangers have the chance to take that step back up into Dark Horse World Series contenders once again.